So for this discussion, please join me in welcoming to the stage Katarina Mellström, the Secretary General of the Global Child Forum, Tema Abdahaldi, the Generation Connect Youth Envoy, Lara Padilla from the Youth Advisory Panel for UNICEF, and Sigve Brekke, President and CEO of Telenor Group.
Hello. Hi.
It's so wonderful to have you all here with us today. Thank you for joining, and thank you to Child Global Forum for sponsoring us today. Katarina, I'd like to begin with you to provide some context maybe to this topic. As we know, the Global Child Forum releases its benchmark report every year, and it sheds some light on the status of children's rights across various industries. Maybe you could share some key findings from this year's latest report.
Absolutely, I'm glad to. As you know, we are conducting a benchmark report annually, and it's based on publicly available information from the companies themselves. So transparency is, of course, extremely important for us in our benchmark. When we look at the overall results, one can see, which is very good to say when I'm here today, that the tech and telecom industry is in the lead. But you saw on the film that 5.8 is the general score for this sector, and there are more things to be done, of course. The software and services is unfortunately lagging behind, and there is a lot of things that can be done to improve. There are so many good examples, so I think I'll start with the positive ones. There are examples from the leaders in this industry: Verizon, Telia, Telenor, Vodafone, PLDT, and others. And what are they good at? They are really good at collaborating. They work together with NGOs, with local organizations, and they initiate and run different projects. Telia, for example, they have an advisory youth board. Verizon have an initiative called Just Kids. And PLDT, they do assessments and audits to check whether they are following the policies they've set up for including children's rights in their operation. So what can be done differently, and what do we need more of? It is good to have policies, but it's even better to ensure that policies are followed. So we need to see more reporting. We need to see comments on negative impact on children's rights, and we need to conduct some audits. The good thing with the benchmark is peer pressure. A lot of companies have realized that caring about these things are so important when building a strong brand. You don't want to lose against your competitors, and therefore peer pressure is good. On our homepage, everyone can look at their scores, compare it to their competitors and to different sectors. We are providing all our data also and give it for free to the financial sector. So that's another good engine to put light on these important matters. So I think to conclude the benchmark, we can see that the companies that really engage and look out for good examples, using our homepage, for example, and collaborate and also take advice and work together with us, they perform better year after year.
Thank you for your report. You're right. There is a moment where peer pressure has a positive outcome. Tama, thanks for traveling to be with us today.
Yeah.
As a young person and a youth advocate, I'd love to get your impressions and your view on the role of young people in shaping the digital landscape.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And I'm very, very glad to talk about after Katrina, because I think she set a perfect context to evaluate that role. That role is crucial. Young people are not only tech savvy and natural digital roamers of this landscape, but they're also creators of it. They're making products and they're adjusting specs of tech they don't like or necessarily want to improve. And that makes them the perfect advocates and activists. Young people, I think, are the biggest chunk of activists we have now. They don't hesitate to just say what they want, when they want on social media, and make a campaign out of it. And it's working. But this role is largely in the post-market time, which is a problem. Because when a product is out, then the youth get to evaluate and tell what they think about it, which makes it harder to edit it or review it. Or sometimes their voice doesn't even reach those companies for any improvement. And again, here we have another groups of people, of young people that maybe have their voice delivered, but other young people, the biggest portion, I suppose, have their voice still dimmed. Young people in the global south who do not have access to internet or do not have adequate access to freedom of expression or can express their voices on social media or other platforms, we still can't hear them, and that's a huge problem.
Yeah. Access is a big problem, and we're talking about that across several platforms at MWC this year. Lara, building on Tama's thoughts, I wonder if you'd share your experience around this topic.
Sure, of course. Thank you. Well, from my experience, I think that the most powerful tool we have now is technology. And a lot of information is on the network, which can allow people to inform themselves in ways that it was impossible before. And this can help to education. There are a lot of free resources. Also, with the amount of crisis we are living economically, socially, and environmentally, we have made a great impact through activism regarding vital necessities and sustainability. So now in technologies and all this network, there is a network, sorry, of people who are fighting for the same objectives. And also, although everything regarding technologies and mental health is not a bed of roses, people who might feel alone in their context could find a connection with someone in another place. So yeah, they are really useful.
Yeah, working together and getting people to fight kind of all in the same direction is super important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sigve, Katarina mentioned earlier that Telenor is doing a good job in this area. What can operators do?
Yeah, I'm representing Telenor. We are operating in several countries in the Nordics, but also in Asia, 200 million plus customers. But I'm also representing the GSMA Foundation Board, where I'm chairing. And the Foundation Board in GSMA, it's focusing on this on behalf of the industry. So maybe just one comment before I answer your question. Why is Telenor and the mobile industry involved in this? I think there are three reasons. One, it's because it's who we are. In addition to connecting people to internet and to mobile services, we also want to empower societies. We want to be seen as someone that are actually contributing to growth in these societies. Right. And we think that there are no modern societies without equality and inclusion. So that's an important part of that role. And on top of that, I think this is about fairness. The inclusion is about fairness. So also the unlocking of economic value, if we are able to include everyone in these societies. But then to your question, what we are trying to do then to protect children and teenagers' rights, I think there are three major threats or risks. One is the general security, cybersecurity risk. We are implementing filters to take away the most damaging attacks that we have. For example, only in the little country Norway, with 6 million population, we stopped 300 million fraud attacks only in the fourth quarter. You can imagine how many fraud attacks the telecom sector is protecting every year. Another example is we have pornography filters for child pornography that takes away attacks and misuse of children. The other one is the misinformation that you find on the internet. And we are trying to, as a telecom industry, to help kids, but also teenagers, to educate them about all the bad stuff that you find on the internet. For example, we are running campaigns, use your head campaigns, online safety campaigns, taking away people afraid of using internet in the first place, but also getting people more aware of what's happening there. And the third area is privacy. And there is a lot of privacy issues to think about when it comes to children and teenagers. For example, sharing of pictures or sharing of content that could hurt you later. We, for example, also have help that if someone have taken a picture of you that is being misused, we will help you to actually remove that from internet itself. So those are the things that we are working on, both trying to include, but at the same time protect those that are online and using the benefits of internet.
Yeah, there's a lot to take care of, and thank you for all the things that you're doing. You're really a leader in this category. Katarina, you started with some of the positives, some of the things that people are doing well, which I appreciate. But I wondered, what are the shortcomings or the gaps? What do you think that tech and mobile companies could be doing differently?
As I said, many companies are doing a lot of good things, but I think you have to look upon it from the whole chain. From idea for a product or services to implementation, rollout, and marketing and sales. Child labor is something that everyone is aware of, and that's not a good thing, right? But you also have to remember that metal and minerals are also used in our products, and that is very often collected by young people in difficult circumstances. And many of those children are under the age of 11. So therefore, you have to think not only about the obvious things, but also the things that are happening far, far away and under very difficult circumstances. And that is the responsibility you have to take for the whole supply chain. We have heard good examples about how to prevent cyberbullying and sexual abuse and things like that. And I really appreciate the GSMA initiative, the Alliance to Prevent Sexual Abuse. Those activities are really good, and we need to see more of that. Social media is here, and it has a big impact on children and young adults, and also adults, to be honest. So what does that do with us and our mental health? I think we need to speak much more about that. And AI is also already here, and deepfake is another thing. We need to make sure that young people can really be source critical and really understand what's fake and what's not. But I would like to end with another important thing. 1/3 of all internet users are children, but at the same time, 360 million don't have access to internet at all. So that might lead us to a situation where we have segregation. The ones that have and the ones that don't. So I think those big things, together with the small things that a company and an industry can do, needs to work together.
We have a number of forums and platforms this week where we are talking about the usage gap and how important it is for us to address it. It's a very key priority for the GSMA and for our board members. So delighted that we'll be carrying on the conversation beyond this panel here. Sigve, collaboration is always a key to addressing critical issues and to solving problems. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how tech and telecoms could be working together with governments maybe and others to help solve or contribute to positive outcomes.
Yeah, two angles to your question. We are working together with global institutions like Plan International, UNICEF, and also other organizations in the UN family. That we do to scale this. Take one example of that. We are focusing on education. We are running Tech for Girl campaign in Bangladesh, for example. We are running inclusion for refugees in Finland, take another example. Online skills, we are running together with these global organizations just to upgrade children and also teenagers' skills in how to use online safety. Another example of this is the cooperation we have with the Pakistani government. There are 60 million kids in Pakistan that is not even a part of the population because they are not counted, they are not registered. So what we are doing there together with UNICEF is going into the villages, village by village, talking to the families through an app, registering the kids for the first time, and help the Pakistani government to bring them into the educational system, but also bring them into society at large. Now we have handed that project over to the Pakistani government. So this is the type of partnerships we have both globally, but also with single governments across. And this is very important because there is so much we can do as an industry. We have the connectivity part of it. And that's why these private-public partnerships are so important.
So important. And Tema and Lara, part of the reason that you're here also is because it would be irresponsible really to have this conversation and not have youth voices represented. So Tema, from your perspective, building on what Sigve has said, how can young people like yourselves and business people like those of us attending MWC work together to help promote and protect children's rights?
One of the most important things is just to give them agency. I think young people are not seen as agents in this process. They're not kept in the loop. Often we want products, tech products, and we want them fast. And that's a problem. And we need to get more youth in the loop of research, of testing, to check that these people know what they're launching in the market and how it will reflect. Especially when we're talking about parental access, people in the Global South don't necessarily use emails. So you cannot make emails an integral and a crucial part of the parental access of their kids' devices. And this is just one simple example. Go talk to people that use your products and your tech, and observe how they're using it. And that's just a leap in the user experience world right now. And I thank the Global Child Forum, and I thank you everyone for having me and Lara here. It's not common to see such young people in the keynote stage.
Yeah. This is the start of giving people agency. Isn't it so cool? Lara, I want to give you the chance to have the last word, maybe to close out our panel. What's your vision for the future look like? Maybe share that with us.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would like to firstly emphasize the huge impact that technology has, because it also has its huge consequences. So what has mattered up until now has been the hurry to provide more and more devices, just as Tema said. In my case, I feel that we grow with the influence of devices that we do not get to really understand. And before anyone tells us the dangers of them, we are already using them daily. Therefore, I think education in technology should come earlier in time. Moreover, protection online is still insufficient. We do not get to imagine the magnitude of it, or how many times a stalker can bully a classmate through devices. I have some data from UNICEF saying that in 12 countries in Southeast Asia and Africa indicates that up to 20% of children online has suffered sexual exploitation or abuse only in the past year. So this is really worrying. And rates of local suicide is also alarming. So please, there is people behind this data. Think about yourselves having to go through that situation. This might have been the case for your kids. Think about them. Think about the children in your family. Let's use conscience in this industry and make technology accessible, but also secure and avoid discrimination. And finally, I am also concerned with climate, and I would like to finish with the advice of reconsidering the current model of economy for sustainability. If not, without security and with the sustainable crisis or environmental crisis, our future and our present will be messed up. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Shocking and concerning data, particularly around mental health and bullying, et cetera. So looking forward to carrying on this conversation beyond this panel today.